Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we're going to be reacting to the latest Steelers draft rumors before we kick off the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis later today. Now, this week, our crew here at Chat Sports will be on the ground in Indianapolis to catch all of the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine coverage. We'll have a full press conference from Steelers GM Omar Khan on the channel tomorrow. We'll have clips from that playing on our shows all week long as well. And this is a big week for rumors. Everybody in the NFL that really matters is in one building talking, all that different stuff. And this is really where a lot of trades begin to happen. This is where free agency contracts begin to take shape. And then, of course, we'll get word on exactly which prospects the Pittsburgh Steelers are formally meeting with as well. We'll have all that coverage for you guys right here on the channel this week. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already to never miss a video this or any week during the 2026 NFL offseason. So on today's show, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to take a look at some of the latest NFL mock drafts and NFL in the NFL draft space here. And we're going to take a look at some of the prospects that some of the top NFL draft analysts out there are projecting for the Pittsburgh Steelers in round one of the 2026 NFL draft. And we'll start here with Field Yates and Joel Klatt, who talk about somebody you're going to hear a lot about this week when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's quarterback out of Alabama, Ty Simpson. Now, Simpson is certainly somebody that's being linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers for obvious reasons. Aaron Rodgers may or may not return next year, and the Steelers are looking for a long-term answer at the starting quarterback position. Ty Simpson is expected to be, going around the range that the Steelers are picking there in the early 20s or so. So you're going to hear Ty Simpson's name a lot connected to the Pittsburgh Steelers in particular this week. This is what Field Yates had to say and why he has Simpson going to the Steelers in his latest mock draft. One of the most pressing questions of this draft is how high Simpson will go. He was entrenched in the top 10 conversation mid-season before a significant second-half slide. The pros for Simpson: he can throw with prime accuracy, improvises in the pocket, and has enough arm strength to drive the ball downfield. The cons: his decision-making waned down the stretch as he had 4 interceptions and a combined 62.6% completion percentage in Alabama's final 6 games. Regardless, I think the Steelers could take a chance on him here. They might bring back quarterback Aaron Rodgers if he doesn't retire, but that is far from a certainty. And while new head coach Mike McCarthy has praised Will Howard, he was a 6th-round pick last year. It feels unlikely Pittsburgh would completely anchor its future around him. And then when it comes to Joel Klatt, who also took Simpson for the Steelers at pick number 21 in his mock draft, he said, last year we wondered if the Steelers would pick a quarterback early on, and they didn't. They did take Will Howard in the 6th round. I'm wondering what their evaluation of Will Howard would be. I know it's not an organization that you think would jump at a quarterback. Mike McCarthy comes in. We don't know yet about Aaron Rodgers, what he will do, if he's going to come back or not. Either way, I think Simpson could be the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I like that pick right here at 21. I'm higher on Simpson than most. This guy makes all the throws. I know he's not a huge player, like he's not big from a stature standpoint, but if you turn on the tape and you watch some of the throws he makes, they are NFL throws, anticipatory throws. He throws with great leverage on the outside. He's accurate. So the first thing that I will say about Ty Simpson, guys, is that he's certainly going to be a name that you hear throughout the draft process this year connected to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I do believe he is a very Mike McCarthy-esque quarterback. And the reason why I say that is his incredibly quick processing speed. This guy, I mean, if you want to make a little bit of a note or a con to his profile in terms of mental processing, it's that sometimes he goes too fast through his mental processing, and he can miss some open opportunities in his first couple reads. But, in terms of going through a full field progression read, going 1, 2, 3, 4 to check down, I mean, Ty Simpson does it about as fast as any college prospect I've watched on film over the last several years. It's really, really impressive. And in this offense led by Mike McCarthy, it is, very reliant on QB mental processing. Can you process information quickly? We've seen Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott become 2 of some of the most cerebral passers in the NFL over the last 2 decades in this offense. And then when you combine the athleticism, the arm strength, the ability to make those touch passes over the middle of the field, I think that, Ty Simpson is definitely somebody that's going to be on Mike McCarthy's radar, whether or not Aaron Rodgers returns as this team's starting quarterback. And even if A-Rod does return, I do think that Simpson is going to be in play with the Pittsburgh Steelers' first-round pick this year. And I do think that, the Steelers could be even inclined to trade up for Ty Simpson. We know that Mike McCarthy McCarthy, kind of started that Packer tradition of drafting a quarterback in round one to mentor behind an older kind of legendary quarterback. And then, after a year or two sitting behind that quarterback, they take the reins eventually. Of course, Rodgers, sat behind Brett Favre for multiple years. Then Jordan Love sat behind Rodgers for multiple years. And that has seemed to work for the Green Bay Packers, right? Like the chain of really good quarterback play in Green Bay is well known. And I think that, implementing that strategy here in Pittsburgh could be one that works for the black and gold if they want to find their next franchise quarterback, while still trying to compete for the here and now with Aaron Rodgers at QB1. In terms of Ty Simpson and what you guys can expect from him, my scouting report on him is that his mental processing is really impressive. His under center playing in that pro-style offense under Ryan Grubb at Alabama, I think is going to be something that NFL teams really cherish, because most of these college guys, they're in a shotgun or pistol-heavy offense. They really don't go under center, and it takes them a couple years to get used to turning their back to the defense, all that different stuff in play action, and Ty Simpson's already proficient in that. He's really good at getting to that backside dig, which is one of the more popular routes to throw in the National Football League. He throws with really good anticipation. He throws with excellent touch over the middle of the field. Some of the throws that he has on tape in the middle portion of this year, super impressive. And then he is a plus athlete. He's got some nice pocket mobility. He can get outside the pocket, can run a little bit. He was a 5-star, I think he was a dual threat quarterback coming out of high school. So the cons are he's not the biggest guy in the world, 208 pounds, so he might need to put on a little bit of poundage there. And, the limited experience in college is certainly something to look at. And then he did deal with some injuries towards the end of this past season. You wonder if that's something that's going to pop up throughout his career. But I do have a round one grade on Ty Simpson. I think he's particularly a good fit for Mike McCarthy's offense, or a West Coast system like a Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan style offense. I think that McVay in particular is going to really like Ty Simpson as they look for, is there another team that could be looking for a long-term answer at the quarterback position. So that's probably the Steelers' main competition for Simpson if they want to get him. But personally, I would love to get a top-flight wide receiver. Like, I do think Aaron Rodgers will be returning next year, guys. And personally, I would love to get a Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson or Mekhi Lemon for the Pittsburgh Steelers to pair with Rodgers and whoever the future, long-term starting quarterback is here in Pittsburgh. However, you have to, look at Ty Simpson. You have to look at the situation of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, and you have to acknowledge that he is a serious candidate to go round one to the black and gold here. And if the Steelers make that pick, I think I would, be less. I think that'd be less catastrophic than maybe some Steelers fans would think. I think he is a good quarterback prospect. That reminds me of a stronger arm Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy has been super productive in the National Football League throughout his time in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers, and a stronger arm version of that can be very good. So I do think that Ty Simpson's a good quarterback prospect, and if that ends up being the pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I will definitely get behind this kid as the future of this franchise. But if they do take Simpson, I do hope that wide receiver 2 is already taken care of via free agency or trade. Like, if that means they trade for Jalen Waddle, or if they go out and get DJ Moore or Michael Pittman Jr., I want to make sure that if we're taking quarterback round one, that we have a legitimate wide receiver 2 in place that's a good complement to DK Metcalf, because if you don't have that piece, I think going quarterback in a year where Aaron Rodgers pretty much just has 1 year left in his career, is not going to be the smart pick. So if you're going to go quarterback round one, you're going to take Ty Simpson, I would say go out, make a move for a big name wide receiver in free agency or via trade. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Is Ty Simpson an acceptable round one selection for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today. While I tell you about today's sponsor, simply give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section. You guys have been asking me for merch for quite a while here on Steelers Talk, and now I've finally convinced our bosses to implement some of this merch stuff for you guys to enjoy. And right now we have our Steel City Drinking Team t-shirt available on our website. You guys can go chatsports.com/pitgreen. This t-shirt is a limited edition t-shirt that's only going to be around this year up until around St. Patrick's Day, Day, which is coming up quickly, guys. And it's only $30 on our website right now. So if you guys want to join the Steel City drinking team today, we greatly appreciate it. And my bosses tell me that the more that we sell of these babies, the more merch opportunities we are going to get during the offseason. So if Aaron Rodgers returns, we can do something. Mike McCarthy stuff, DK Metcalf stuff. We can, if they make a big trade for Jalen Waddle, we could do a Penguin-style t-shirt. I don't know, man. We could do a bunch of different stuff. The more that we sell of these things, the more merch opportunities we are going to get here on Steelers Talk. So go chatsports.com/pitgreen if you haven't already to get yours today before St. Patrick's Day. I greatly appreciate your guys' support. And now let's get back to the draft rumors here with Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network, where in his latest mock draft, in fact, in his first two mock drafts, he has the Steelers taking wide receiver out of Washington, Denzel Boston. This is what Daniel Jeremiah had to say about this pick. Boston makes too much sense here. The Steelers would have two power forwards on the outside with the rookie playing opposite DK Metcalf. Now, my question is, does Pittsburgh really want two power forwards on either side at the wide receiver position with a limited route tree? They're not really going to separate to the short and intermediate levels of the field. I think that, Denzel Boston's, profile is mostly redundant with DK Metcalf. All right, now I do think Denzel, I think he's a better 50-50 contested catch winner down the sideline than DK is, and I think DK is a better yak threat. They're not exactly the same, but they both are bigger-bodied wide receivers with a limited route tree. And I think what the Steelers need, guys, at the wide receiver position is a more versatile and dynamic route runner, somebody that can run the entire route tree at a very high clip and can separate to all levels of the field, short, intermediate, and deep, and really be that safety valve for Aaron Rodgers, somebody that can beat man coverage, but is someone that's also smart enough to find those soft spots and zones, can play inside or out. I think you need to find that versatile, dynamic, offensive chess piece at wide receiver that can run really good routes, is good after the catch, all that different stuff. And I just don't see Denzel Boston as that versatile piece. I think for what he is, he's a very good player, right? I think he's a very good true X wide receiver, and somebody is going to be very happy to get that guy in round one. Cough, cough, Buffalo. But, I think when you're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're looking for somebody that, isn't, that big-bodied X wide receiver, because the Steelers already have that type of receiver in-house in DK Metcalf, and I think you need to find somebody that can more reliably beat man coverage. So before we get into the final draft rumor on today's show here, guys, if you're enjoying today's show and you want more Steelers draft content throughout Combine Week here, click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already and like today's show. I greatly appreciate all of your guys' support. By clicking that thumbs up icon, you're telling the YouTube algorithm that you enjoy our content and that they're going to recommend it to other Steelers fans across the world, which gets more eyeballs on our channel, which leads to more subscribers, all that different stuff. So that really is the easiest way to help us out today, guys. So click that thumbs up icon if you have a half second. All right, so now in the final draft rumor that we're talking about today, Matt Miller from ESPN a couple weeks ago released his 2-round mock draft here, and he has the Steelers taking Avon Terrell, the cornerback out of Clemson, in round 1, and then Zachariah Branch, the wide receiver out of Georgia, in round 2. This is what Miller has to say about Terrell going to Pittsburgh in round 1. The Steelers have one emerging star cornerback in Joey Porter Jr., but need to upgrade from free agents James Pierre and Asante Samuel Jr. at the opposite spot. The younger brother of Falcons cornerback A.J. Terrell Jr., Avieon Terrell, is a savvy corner man with fantastic short area quickness and fast eyes. He's an ultra-athletic, fluid mover with the hips, quickness, and pressman prowess to be a solid starter immediately, especially in a defense that can pressure the quarterback and create flip the field opportunities for defensive backs. Yes, quarterback will absolutely be a discussion point here, but Pittsburgh has to learn from the Kenny Pickett selection in 2022 and not force a pick based on need. Now, my question when it comes to this particular pick from Matt Miller is, does Pittsburgh really need to upgrade from James Pierre and Asante Samuel Jr.? Because when I watched James Pierre play last year, and I know it was somewhat limited sample size, he played in 14 games, but he only started in 5 of them. He was the second highest graded corner in all of football last year with an 86.2 PFF grade. Now, obviously PFF grading is not gospel, but if you watch the film on James Pierre, you know that he was stacking up those PBUs like they were nothing. He was great in man coverage. He was good enough in zone coverage as well, and he's got he's got the long arms, he's physical, and I think he fits what Patrick Graham wants to do at the cornerback position here in Pittsburgh. And I think that, he's worth bringing back on another contract. And by the way, guys, I don't think he's going to be as expensive as people think. Like, people think, oh, James Pierre played well last year, therefore he's going to get a massive contract. The Athletic didn't even put him in their top 150 free agents list that just released last week. So I really don't think the NFL at large really understands how good of a player James Pierre is. And it's kind of like the Kenneth Gainwell situation. We as Steelers fans, and the Steelers know how good these guys are, but, they're not really well known across the league. So I think the Steelers are going to be able to get those two guys back at pretty decent price tags this year. And because we already have a legit number one corner in Joey Porter Jr., I don't think we need to spend our first-round pick on a cornerback on the opposite side of him. I think just bringing back James Pierre, a good, solid veteran number two corner for a decent price tag, is probably the best way to go at that position. And because of that, I'd be pretty surprised right now, guys, if the pick for the Steelers in round one is a cornerback, all right? Would I completely hate it? No, but I look at some of the other things that the Steelers need. Number one wide receiver, a long-term starting quarterback. I just feel like those guys and those positions are probably more important to address in round one if I am the Pittsburgh Steelers. But now we can get to Matt Miller's second-round draft pick here, which is Zachariah Branch, the wide receiver out of Georgia, where he says the Steelers haven't gotten much out of Roman Wilson, a third-round pick in 2024, and Calvin Austin III is set to be a free agent, so they need a number two wideout. Branch is electric with the ball in his hands and has difference-making speed in his route tree. Now, I just took Branch in my ideal Steelers 7-round mock draft. You guys can check that out on the channel if you guys haven't already. But I took him in the 3rd round there, and I think he'd be great as a day one wide receiver 3. This would be awesome. Like, if you could go with Ty Simpson round 1 and then Zachariah Branch at the wide receiver 3 to start the season, and you have Jalen Waddle as the number 2, that'd be a really good setup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Branch is electric after the catch. I think he's a better route runner than people give him credit for. Now, his two kind of bugaboos with me on film is that he likes to jump when he catches the ball, even when he's wide open and he doesn't need the jump. He's not as smooth transitioning as some of the other receivers in this class, and he likes to catch the ball with his body. He doesn't, catch the ball with his hands as much as you would like. So those are kind of the two deficiencies that I see with him on film as a receiver, but he's an electric return man in the special teams in the punt game, and then he's awesome after the catch, and we know how much Aaron Rodgers likes those little quick passes to his playmakers out in space. I think Branch fits that to a T, and I think he does have the receiving chops to potentially be a future number 2 receiver in this league as a dynamic yak threat that can also run those deep crossers that Mike McCarthy likes a lot. I think that this would be a good pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's your turn. Let me know down there in the comment section. Who do you want the Steelers to take in round 1 of the NFL draft this year? Is it a wide receiver? Is it a quarterback? Cough, cough, Ty Simpson? Is it somebody else? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. And that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Draft Rumors. We're going to have a bunch of great draft content for you guys all throughout this week with our coverage from Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine, guys. We're going to be going live tomorrow, not today. Our normal live day is Monday. We're going to be going live tomorrow on Tuesday. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We'll make sure to get you guys another video this afternoon as well. And until then, guys, here we go, Steelers.